Here we go. All right, thank you. It's welcome to the library board meeting. It's 4 p.m. on Thursday, April 10th, 2025. I'm Ruth Ann Webster, and we are about to start our meeting. First thing is for the approval of the agenda. Everyone has the agenda in front of them. We've had a chance to review that. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have an agenda. And now, approval of the minutes from our March 13th library board meeting. Again, those are all sent out in advance. If anyone has any questions or concerns, let me know. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the March 13th meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, and now we move on to the financial report.
All right, so we are 25.48% through 2025, and our budget is approximately 23.5% expended. Bills that we paid during March included $900 to LibData for our public computer and mobile printing management licenses, $1,126 to Gale for large print books, and that was from the Rudy Good Memorial Fund, which we're spending down. $61 to Granger for eye wash station refills, $182 to Hilliard for general cleaning supplies, $305 to Verizon for service to our 8 Wi-Fi hotspots, and then $30,488 to Highmark Technology, and that is the 50% deposit on the study pods, so that's
Okay.
50% of that cost.
When are you expecting the study pods to go in?
Our goal is still late May. That's what the Highmark estimated, and so we haven't had a change in that yet.
Okay, good. Any other comments or questions about the financial report? Hearing none, let's move on to the library department activities report.
So Traverse des Sioux Regional Library has launched their app, TDS on the Go. Our library patrons can use the app to access and manage their library account, search the catalog, submit hold requests, access a digital version of their library barcode, and more. If you'd like to download the app, you can visit tdslib.org to download the app. You can also search in the Apple App Store or Google Play Stores for the app. And that was actually named, the app name was from our staff member, Sue Ullery. Precision Alarm is planning to visit the library either Friday or Monday to complete our door project. The last step that needs to happen is connecting the strikes to the badge system. Otherwise, those doors have been installed, rekeyed, and the electrician has visited. So once that step is complete, the door project will be done. Staff have been working on preparing for study pod installation in May. We're working on moving our DVD collection. We've decided to move that up to the middle of the non-adult nonfiction area. And then we're working on selecting furniture to go inside the study room pods. And that will be purchased with the funding from the Mellon Foundation grant. And then the second episode of Tales of the Town, our collaborative project between the library, State Street Theater, Brown County Historical Society, and a New Cat, aired this month, and it's already had over 1,000 views since its release. And the subject is Carrie Nation's visit to New Ulm during Prohibition. And then our winter reading program for adults ended February 28th. We want to thank the Friends of the Library for donating the prizes for the program. We had 12 participants receive prize packages, which included a library branded mug, a scarf, hand warmers, hot cocoa, and some bookmarks, since our theme was raise the temperature. We had more than 80 people participate this year, and they read more than 600 books during the 2 months the program ran, from January to February. On Saturday, March 15th, we hosted the 132nd birthday celebration for Wanda Gog. Our youth services librarian and volunteers from the Wanda Gog House Association helped 25 partygoers create their own matching games. And then they had snacks and read Wanda God stories as well. And then our youth service and reference librarians continue to weed our nonfiction collections, both the adult and the youth collections, and work on purchasing new items with the nonfiction grant from TDS. We received, I think it was $11,070, and we have about $4,000 left to spend. And the deadline for that is May 23rd. And that's because of TDS's funding year cycles. And then I wanted to touch on something you may have heard. We had an article in the Journal on Saturday, and we've been posting on Facebook about it. But on March 14th, the White House had announced an executive order that 7 agencies, including the Institute of Museum and Library Services, be eliminated to the maximum extent of the law. And the agencies are ordered to reduce their services and personnel to the minimum amount required to perform the functions required by law. So that announcement orders the Office of Budget Management and Budget to reject any budget requests from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, also called IMLS, other than any funds needed to shut down the agency. So just some background for you and kind of what that means for us. IMLS is established by law, and the executive order requires that the agency do only what is statutorily required. At this time, it's not fully clear what the administration will deem to be statutorily required. In 2024, Minnesota received $3.16 million from IMLS grants to state program. So that is distributed by our state library services, and Minitex, which is an agency that runs out of the University of Minnesota, receives $1.69 million for the eLibrary of Minnesota, which is databases and other resources for research, and as well as resource sharing, which is more commonly called interlibrary loan. The State Library Services also does sub-grants to libraries and support organizations, a little more than $500,000. Staff salaries and operations for State Library Services is $0.84 million. And operations of the Minnesota Braille and Talking Book Library and the State Library Services salaries also are part of that money. The part we focused on in the article in the Journal is Minitex. And so they use that money for interlibrary loan, which is, so we are part of Traverse des Sioux Regional Library, which is a 9-county regional library. And so as part of that membership, we share our collection with other libraries within our regional library. When I say interlibrary loan, I'm talking about anything that happens outside of our region within the state of Minnesota. So we have access to books from Duluth, Rochester, St. Cloud, Fergus Falls, and Minitex coordinates all of those books moving between libraries. So at the New Ulm Public Library, we have about 72,000 items in our collection right now. And when we look at what is available to us within the state of Minnesota, it's up to 10 million unique titles. So losing interlibrary loan really would cut what we can offer to our patrons. And it's not just books, it's access to those journal articles that are not full text in databases. We can request copies from academic libraries be sent to our patrons. It's also things like DVDs and audiobooks and microfilm reels of newspapers and things that we have access to. So it's a lot that would be lost to our patrons if we don't have that funding. eLibrary Minnesota is another Minitex resource that's more commonly called ELM. And that's the access to digital versions of magazine, journal, newspaper, encyclopedia articles. And that's information like consumer information, arts and humanities, career, occupation, and test prep, current events, health science, social sciences, politics, business, and more. And then eBooks Minnesota is another Minitex service, and that's a statewide collection offering Minnesota of all ages nearly 10,000 books digitally, and it doesn't require checkouts or returns. And then the Minnesota Digital Library is also offered through Minitex, and that's historical content from cultural heritage organizations in Minnesota. And so they have over 60,000 items depicting history from all 87 Minnesota counties. And they're sourcing those from the collections of 204 historical societies, libraries, archives, and other organizations across the state. So there's a lot at stake for our patrons that could be lost. It's not very clear yet when this might happen or how it might happen. But we're asking if you feel strongly that these resources are important and we want to keep them available to our patrons, that you communicate that to your legislators. The American Library Association and the Minnesota Library Association websites have information that you can use to help you communicate the value of libraries and this funding. The American Library Association also offers a lot of the background that I pulled today if you want to read more on that, as well as the Minnesota Library Association. And the Minnesota Library Association's page also offers like a form that you can fill out that will email your representatives to. So you can customize that if you want to, or you can use the language they have there. So I guess, go ahead.
I have a question. So what percent of funding for interlibrary loan does Minitech provide? Is it all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we pay our member fees to TDS part of that pays for interlibrary loan, but that is the TDS staff time that they have to deal with interlibrary loan on our end. So what happens is we place a request using Minitex's MinLink platform, or patrons can do that too. That goes to TDS, who makes sure the request is ready for Minitex. Minitex coordinates it with other libraries. Those materials get sent through the regional libraries to Minitex, back out to the regional libraries to the individual libraries for the patrons to pick up. So the funding that would be lost is everything that's on Minitex's end.
Has that always been the case, how it's always gone? Or was there something in place before Minitech?
I
you know?
can't, I don't know that. Yeah. In my time in Minnesota libraries, that's how it's
Always
run.
been? Okay.
And we also don't know, some of this state grant funding that goes through state library services also, some of that is divvied out to the regional libraries. So there's a potential for TDS to lose some funding, which then could directly impact how much our member fees are to them too. But again, so much of this is up in the air right now. We really don't know what that could look like by the time it trickles down to us.
Anyone else got any, we need to talk a little bit more about this. Anyone else got any questions? I asked if there was any legal action being taken or considered.
Yes, so I believe it was 27 state attorney generals have filed action against this executive order. Minnesota's included. And then the American Library Association, Minnesota Library Association, and other library organizations are pulling together information to help library patrons and libraries communicate this concern to the public so that the public can make their voice heard on it.
Okay. And I'm just asking, I saw the article in the Journal. Was it you that contacted the Journal, or did they get that information someplace else?
The Journal came and spoke with me. I didn't contact them. They saw our Facebook post and reached out quickly after that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We've got some other questions or comments. I'm wondering what struck me about the article that you wrote is the technical information that's available. for people working on their PhDs or even their master's degrees to get access to that information without driving up to Duluth, or someplace else. Anybody else notice anything about what April's talking about?
What are the comments that you've seen on your Facebook post?
They have been overwhelmingly in support of the library. When I've seen comments that are less supportive of the library, either on our post or on the journal's post of the article, it's been, I think, from a lack of understanding as to how library funding works. It's very complex, all the different services that we pull together to offer all that we do to our patrons. And so I think it's hard to communicate all that goes into offering the services that we do and all the different ways that funding flows to libraries.
Well, and the coordination needed. I can't just call up the Duluth Historical Society and get something about my relatives who showed up or something like that,
Yeah, all the people that are doing genealogy and all the, what they're looking for.
Anyone else, other comments?
Could you just reiterate how to get to the Minnesota Library Association page for that information?
Yes, so if you just do a search for American Library Association, it'll be the top result. Same with the Minnesota Library Association. The American Library Association's information about the executive order is on their homepage. If you go to the Minnesota Library Association's page, there's an advocacy tab.
Okay. That's critical, I think.
I feel like it would be nice for people to have a synopsis, like a layman's synopsis of how libraries get funded. You can't do every little detail, but, because as just an outsider, I'd automatically assume property taxes, so it'd be nice to see as far as grants and yada, yada, federal, state and local.
Would you want that on our website or?
I don't know. I just kind of thought of it. I didn't really think of how, just an idea.
Maybe in the paper, if they
Yeah.
would print something else, if they would, extend the article to, provide a little more information. Because unless you sit on this board and look at all of the funding, you don't, and I didn't understand till I got here.
Exactly.
And it's not, and Minitex isn't a line item on our budget.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to add that I think, April, you've been doing a really good job of communicating it. I really appreciated the journal article and then the signs up. Otherwise, without the notification, the signs up at the library, I would have never known. It's so hard to keep up with
Yeah.
kind of everything that's changing right now and what
Yep.
it means. But I really worry that rural areas will be the most impacted by this.
Good
and
point.
that's-
Very good point.
because we don't have access to those information centers in the Twin Cities, right? Those hubs, and so it's very concerning that we would lose such a resource. Would you say, so contacting our representatives, I think the focus has been on the U.S. representatives at this point. Would you say contacting state representatives is helpful too, in case, I don't know if there's any talk about the state at all coming in with funding for it? I'm not sure.
From my understanding, it sounds like there's a lot of state agencies that could be impacted by these executive orders
Yeah.
and lost funding. And so I do think it would be helpful also to contact state representatives to let them know that library services are valued when they're considering budget cuts and things like that. What agencies are they looking at doing if libraries aren't vocal about what funding we need to help our patrons, then I think there could be a loss there too.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of good comments.
Yeah.
It just, You know, we look every month at how many people are coming into the library and how many people really need the library. In, like you said, in a rural area, and people need information, and they need help finding that information, and that's what's at risk here. So,
I would say a boots on the ground information, because everyone has a phone now or a computer. I mean, you know, the majority of people. Not everyone has service,
And
I
some
get,
even know how
but,
to use it.
yeah,
I'm
to keep
sorry.
relevant. No, go ahead.
And we can ask about how things are funded, but I think many people don't know how much foundation information the library presents to the community, from the high school connections to our Oak Hills and places like that. That people need to be informed about things, and it's a resource. We can't miss. It's a lack of information that it'll be a big hole if this is taken away.
Well, in the activities, we get a report every month on how many people attended what things. And it's really surprising. There's always something going on, and there's always people there. You know, and so if those things, you know, maybe have to go away because of other, you know, then there are going to be a lot of things, you know, like,
The trickle-down effect.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Everything trickles down, you know.
I think, I would want to say that a lot of people don't know that they can watch these meetings.
Sure.
That would be something to point out too, so that they can know that they can, you know, go online or whatever and see all the stuff that we see.
Thank you.
all right, good discussion. Anything else?
Just thank you, April. The journal article was excellent, and hopefully the word is really spreading, and so that people can take the needed actions.
And I think, right, there's a call for action. April has given us a call to action, and I hope we can all come forward with that. Good. Okay.
Had a chance to meet with Network New Ulm on Wednesday morning as part of their media day. They visited the library and learned about the library in Newcat, and one of their attendees had asked specifically about the journal article and what that would mean. And so I think, you know, making people aware really can, like, it, you know, that's a group of 30 that is now aware because someone, you know, spoke about it to them. So I think if we're talking about it too, it helps just continue to spread.
Good.
Are
Thank you.
you, so I'm assuming, I don't remember the name of the organization that you mentioned that has information on how to contact and what they want you to say, but are you able to print out the script that I'm assuming they've come up with a script
Or perhaps you can.
what you should say when you
Yeah,
call your
Right.
representative.
Or maybe you can email us those links.
Sure.
Like, because
Share them.
yes.
I find, at least for me, when it's like laid out for me very clearly, it's much easier for me to be like, oh yes, okay, I can do this.
I can do this. I can do
I can
this.
get on the phone and leave a message, and they've told me what to say. Yeah.
Sure. We'll share again the specific links on Facebook, and then I can just
Oh,
email
good.
them to
Thank
board
you.
members, too.
Well, and maybe you should see if Newcap would put the links, you know, run it at the bottom during this or sometime, you know.
Oh, boy.
Or if, because you can always go back and find this meeting. So if those links are there, it might get other people aware that they could, you know, where to go.
Sure. I can ask
I
them.
have just timed out now. Oh, God. What did I do? Oh, thank you. Now what?
Press it
Okay.
twice.
Ah,
There you are.
I got drifted. All right. All right. Good discussion. Thank you, everybody. And especially thank you, April.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next action item. We have a resolution. Speaking of how much people appreciate the library.
Oh, Ruth Ann, I'm
Oh, yeah.
sorry. Do you mind if I just share a couple programming things?
Oh,
too?
please, for coming up in May. Apologize.
So on Friday, April 25th at 10 a.m., we have a special story time. And that's a story time, but with a craft added, along with the story time theme. So we invite people to join us for that. And then on Saturday, April 6th at 10 a.m., we have the Mankato Symphony Orchestra presenting See, Hear, Play music. And one of your resolutions is related to that, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then I just wanted to remind everyone that we have the new Nippling group on Tuesdays from 1 to 3 p.m., and that's patrons practicing the bohemian art of bob and lace weaving. So they're not teaching per se, but you're welcome to come observe, learn about it, talk with them, and then if you are working on a project yourself, you can certainly join to do that.
Great. Yes, great. Always something going on at the library. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now let's, I'm on to resolution number 2025-10 to accept donations and memorials received from January 1st to March 31st, 2025. And the first donor is the New Ulm Farm City Hub Club, $85 in children's books, that 6 agricultural children's books. And I know they've done this for many years,
Yes.
right? Many thanks to that. And then the next 3 are from Friends of the New Ulm Public Library, $200 in cash for the winter reading program, $200 in cash for National Library Workers' Day, and $250 cash for Clifford's birthday giveaway books. Oh, we all love Clifford. Vicki Pizer, $25 cash with undesignated. Brian and Elaine Scholes in honor of Jim Kraft, $50 undesignated cash. And finally, Michelle Vogel, $600 for the HR8 machine. What is the HR8 machine?
It's a machine for our memory lab so that we can convert high 8 tapes to new formats.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, so that was a donation of the machine itself.
Oh, thank you for that's lovely. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
that is
you.
a hard machine to find too, so that
Oh,
one kind of fell into
wonderful.
our lap because of
Oh,
her
great.
generosity.
Oh, great. And the New Ulm Public Library accepts these donations with gratitude to the donors. Do I have a motion to pass this resolution accepting the donations?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any other comments or discussion about
I didn't mention it during my librarian's report, but it is National Library Week this week.
Yay, National Library?
And Tuesday was National Library Workers' Day, so the donation that the Friends gave for National Library Workers' Day, we, when we printed the prize mugs for the winter reading program, we printed a different version for the library staff, so they each got a mug, and then we had a little bit of money left over to have some snacks in our break room, so.
Great. A donut to put in a mug. Wonderful, wonderful, National Library. Good, wonderful. Okay, I have a motion and a second to pass this resolution. Anything else? Otherwise, call the roll.
Sarah,
Yes.
Dustin, yes. Caitlin,
Yes.
Ruth Ann.
Yes.
Yvonne,
Yes.
Manon,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Passed. All right, on to resolution number 2025-11, accepting Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund grant. At its March 2025 meeting, the Traverse des Sioux Regional Library awarded New Ulm Public Library with an Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund legacy grant in the amount of $1,200 for the performance of the Mankato Symphony Orchestra. And again, the orchestra will present its See, Hear, Play music series featuring cellist Amit Peled on Saturday, April 26th at 10 a.m. And Peled will share a special reading of his picture book, A Cello Named Pablo. That sounds charming, doesn't it? Very charming. That sounds like fun. Do I have a motion to accept this resolution?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
All right, motion and second. Anything else? Any other comments or questions?
Although it's geared towards children, anyone is welcome to
Oh,
join
I'm
us for
sure.
that.
I'm sure. I've never met a cello named Pablo. I haven't yet. All right, we have a motion and a second. We've finished our discussion. Secretary, call the roll.
Sarah,
Yes.
Dustin, yes. Caitlin,
Yes.
Ruth Ann.
Yes.
Yvonne,
Yes.
Manon,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Hope,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Passed. Any other business to come before this board? If not, meeting adjourned. Bing. Good.
Great.
Okay.
That'll do.